Jazzcast Pros.
If you've thought about becoming an entrepreneur and are living in the corporate world feeling burned out, today's guest will share some insights into how to prepare successfully so you can leave the corporate world and live your dream as an entrepreneur. Ebony Nicole is the founder and CEO of Ebony Nicole Smith Consulting LLC, a boutique writing and publishing company based right here in Rochester, New York. Welcome to Fearless Fridays with Marianne, the podcast to help you get unstuck, heal your inner child, and reshape your future. I am your host, Marianne Rivera Dannert, and with over 10 years of experience as a coach, author, speaker, and owner of MRD Empowerment Solutions, I use my personal life experience with trauma, healing, and rediscovery as a catalyst for personal growth. My mission is to empower you to discover and unlock your full potential, paving the way to a life marked by freedom and balance. Together, we'll tackle the tough stuff and find the strength within to rise above. So, Ebony, you have been an entrepreneur for a while. Tell us
Mhm.
about your journey and what made you want to leave corporate to become an entrepreneur?
So I started my journey of entrepreneurship in 2016. I saw a need for people who wanted to write books but didn't know where to start. They didn't know how to start, which is different from where and how to start are two different things. And they just wanted to get their books done, get them published, get them out there. They didn't know what to do. And then I'm like, well, I have all this accumulated knowledge. Here we go. Let's get it. So I started my publishing company out of a need to satisfy for others. I progressed through the publishing industry. And then in 2017, I was in corporate. I was working at a utility company and I began to burn out. 2017,
Mhm.
2018, I began to have a burnout and I didn't care anymore. I was making great money as a single
Yeah.
woman, no children. The money I was bringing home was fantastic, but it no longer mattered to me. It no longer mattered. And that's when I'm like, I need to prepare to leave. And to be transparent, I had some debt. And so I prayed and I said, Lord, I want to be healthy in my finances. And I was able to pay off $25,000 in 2 years. And once that was paid off, I paid off my car 6 months in advance. Once I had nothing on that I owed anybody, I then began to build up my safety net. I got to 8 months of my core finances. I saved 8 months of my core finances. And I'm like, this is it. I'm out. And I left and I have not returned. And so, no, let me take that back. I did return because I panicked. I was ready to go because I was burned out, but I was not ready to go because I panicked when I got down to like my last 2 months. I panicked and I was like, oh my God, okay, so now what? And I began to work for the government and I was only there for, I would say 2 years before I left the
Yeah.
government. And that was in 2021. And I have not returned. I have not returned because I didn't allow my fears to overcome me, to overtake me, to take me down. I'm like, I know where my fears are coming from, but I know where my strength comes from as well. So that's why I'm like, I'm not going back. I don't want to work somebody's 9 to 5. I would prefer, which I am doing, is to work my own business.
I love that. And you have shared so much. So let's break all of that down. So the first thing you said is that you saw a need.
Yes.
How did you figure out what you were good at? How did you figure that out?
Was people were asked, how did you do it? How did you do it? Where did you go? What did you do? What, all these questions. And I was just like, well, it was, all I did was this, that, and the third. And they were like, I really don't got time for that. And that was the kicker.
Mm,
That was it. My clients don't have time to go do it. They want to do it. They don't have the time.
right.
They're ministers,
Mhm.
they're pastors, they're wives, they're husbands, they are entrepreneurs, they are CEOs of this company or their own company. And so they have their time constraints. They're effective in their time. They can balance it, but now they don't
Right.
have the time to actually sit down and write. So they have valuable time, but they don't see where they can fit in their writing. So that's when I come in. Like, if you want to get this done, here's what I need from you. And I'm a coach that's, hey, these are our deadlines. I need you to be writing. I would
Right.
see my clients online doing something. I would slide in their DM or send them a text. Hey, I see you on Facebook. You posted like 3 times in the last hour. I hope this is in between writing. Like, I was not afraid, and still I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to call my clients out. They'll be, oh, I'm bored. They
Mm.
post, I'm bored. You could be writing. I know, coach. Then you're not bored. Like, I don't
Mm.
understand. So I engage my clients so that I help them in a way that they find what they don't believe they have, which is time to write. And once we find that time to write, then it's getting to it. But it was a need that I saw by
Right.
based on the questions that were coming to me. And then when I would ask them questions for clarity of why they can't do it, it was always time. There's a need and a lack of time.
And you mentioned that you were burned out in your job. What were some of
Mhm.
those signs? How did you figure out that you were burned out? Because someone that might be listening to us may be like, well, I just don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't feel like going to that place. But
Mhm.
what are some other signs that you experience that you would like to share?
Oh man, getting out of bed was one of them. When my alarm would go off, I would
Mhm.
literally feel like a weight on my shoulder before I even got up out of bed. I felt a weight on my
Yeah.
shoulders. There were times where I would cry on my way to work.
Mm.
And by cry, I mean literally pull over like a block away from work and I would cry.
Mm.
When I would go on lunch, I would go in my car and I would cry because I was completely done. I found myself not wanting to go above and beyond for my customers. I didn't. I wanted to give them the bare minimum of assistance because I just was completely burned out. It was no longer in me. Another thing was the money no longer mattered. Like I mentioned earlier,
Mm.
I was making great money, but it no longer mattered. Like as a single woman, no children, I could work 40, 50, 60 hours, and my minimum was 40 hours, but I can get
Right.
in 50. I can do those extra, 20 hours a week because I got no one to
Yeah.
care for. And so that was easy. So the money was great. But I just couldn't do it anymore. I just want my 40 hours, let me go. When they would put out emails, like, okay, we got this Saturday available. Who wants to work it? Not Ebony. Oh, we need 4 people to stay overtime, to stay to 7 o'clock. Well, I leave at 4. I could stay to 7, but not Ebony. Those were
Yeah.
things that came to me. It was no longer finding the drive and the happiness of work. If it was not for the friends that I had made that became family to me, I don't know how I would have made it through the day because we
Mm.
talked and we encouraged each other, we prayed and just helped each other through the day because I wasn't the only one that was burning out, but I was the only one who decided this is not for me anymore. So my
Mm.
burnout looked like crying, going to work and crying at work and I had a mental breakdown at work one day. It
Mm.
was bad. It was bad. I
Yeah.
was shaking, I could not stop shaking. It was so bad for me. Also, burnout looked like coming home. I would get off work at 4 o'clock and I could have stayed at work till 7 because I was literally in my car till 7 o'clock in my
Oh,
driveway.
wow.
I would sit in my driveway. And the
Mm.
only reason why I would, it might sound crazy, like, you can sit in your driveway for 3 hours. Yes, I did. I had to
Right.
decompress. I didn't want to take, because I
Mm.
believe in transfer of energy. And I didn't want to
Yeah.
take this negative energy into my home because my home is my safe space, it's my peace. And I didn't want to take that inside of my walls. So I would sit in my car and I would cry, I would pray, I would talk. I had a Christian counselor at that time. So I would talk with her. And it was just like, I can't do this anymore. And sitting in my car gave me the decompression from the last 8 hours. It helped me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that was what my burnout looked like.
Wow. And you also shared when it was time for you to start to prepare to leave that you paid off your debts and
Yes.
you saved up for, you created a safety net.
Yeah.
So for a person who might be listening and they're like, well, I don't have anything extra to give. I don't
Mhm.
have anything extra to put aside. What were some of the sacrifices that you had to do
Oh
to be
man,
able to have that safety net?
thank you for asking that, because the safety net, you do have it. You just have to look at what you have. Look at where your money's going. So for 2 years, again, single woman, my money could go wherever. Trips canceled. I wasn't going on no cruises. I wasn't going out of town
Mhm.
anywhere. I stayed my butt home. I found at that point, I found out all the things that Rochester had to offer, far as entertainment, whether free or very little cost. And so that's how I found out about, going to all the different festivals. Oh, the French festival is actually nice. The Park Avenue Festival. Well, look at this. Like I never knew that the Park Ave Festival was this awesome. So it had taken me realizing I can't spend money while I'm trying to
Mm.
get out of debt. I have to be disciplined. And so I had to learn to love the free and low cost things of Rochester. Also, I wrote down everything I spent my money on. It's a couple of things I'm going to share
Mm.
with you all. I wrote down everything from every bill, credit card, everything, every expense for my home, everything. I wrote it down. All of my subscriptions, wrote it down. I didn't include any business things because my business money took care of that. But everything that I was responsible for in my home, I wrote down, and I was able to see I had, kid you not, it was about $80 in subscriptions alone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of subscriptions. Subscribe to this, subscription to that, and this, and a third. It was very expensive. So I cut off all those. I cut off Netflix, Hulu, all of them. I didn't need them anymore because, first of all, I'm not home that much, anyways, to watch these things. And when I would
Mm.
come home at night, I'll watch a movie, but the movie ended up watching me because I was asleep. And so cable, got rid of cable. I didn't need it. I wasn't home. So I got rid
Mm.
of it. I would say to you have the money. You just don't know where your money's going. And that's also called budgeting. Look at where you are
Yeah.
spending your money and then get rid of what you don't need. So when I accumulated the 8 months worth of my core finances, I found where I had to save. I had to do the list to see what my finances were and save just those things. And everything else that was subpar, I got rid of. I don't need that to survive. If I got it, I got it. If I don't, I don't. I'm good. But I need my mortgage, my
Mm.
RG&E, my car insurance. These are mandatory. But everything else wasn't. So I
Right.
got rid of it. And that's where I saw the money. That's where I saw, oh yeah, that's it. Going out with my friends. Yeah, I can't go, y'all. And I was okay with that.
Oh.
My friends understood what I was trying to
Mm.
do and they accepted. So there had some friends that would say, we going to dinner. You want to go? I can't do it this week, y'all. Well, nobody asked you to pay. Do you want to go? Yes or no? Well, excuse me. Yes, I would go. And even then I would get whatever you want, girl. I look at the menu and I'm thinking in my mind how I'm saving.
Mm.
And I'm not going to go and get
Right.
lobster because my friend said, go ahead and order what you want. No, I'm going to go ahead and get this little $20 pasta dish.
Mm.
Thank my friend for bringing me to dinner, but I'm going to get this pasta dish. I'm going to get this little chicken dinner or whatever. But it was all about just keeping that focus on making a list and get rid of what was not mandatory. And then from there, saving up my 8 months of reserve, and preparing mentally. I thought I was prepared, but when I panicked, it hit me. I was ready, but I didn't go full force into it because I panicked and went right back. I left out of utility company and then went into government. But I was just like, I don't want to do this either. I don't feel like I'm
Mm.
being utilized to my capacity. I felt
Yeah.
worthless working there. I felt like I couldn't retain anything. It was just like, I know I am smart. Why
Yeah.
am I not grasping this? This is crazy. And so I just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I mentally prepared again to go.
Yeah.
But and even in that preparation, it was God like, yeah, I need you to resign. What? He needed me to resign. So I had a month to get it together, as opposed to 2 years of preparation and all that stuff with my finances and getting everything in order there. I had 1 month to get it together. And God's like, I need you to resign from your position with the city of Rochester. And I'm like, okay, but that wasn't an easy process either. That was something completely different. But I did it, and I
Right.
have not been back in someone's corporate or government position at all. The beautiful thing about that is when I left the city of Rochester, I left on good terms. Left on good
Right.
terms, made some great impressions. Because it's so funny, a year later, I got, or 2 years later, I got my first government contract through the city of Rochester in the department that I
Nice.
had left. So
Nice.
it was like,
Nice.
oh my God. It was like, this is what we were doing. And your name came up in a meeting.
So it's important not to burn those bridges when you're making the transition.
Absolutely. Don't burn the bridges. Go in, make those connections, because you never know when they might be like, well, we need someone to do what? We need someone to interview these people. We need someone to write up stories on these people. We need someone to get this. We need it to be edited. And well, Ebony Nicole Smith Consulting. She worked
Yeah,
with us. Yes. So my name was
I
literally
love
at a
it.
table that the people who made all the decisions of who to bring in, who to contract
Mm,
with, was talking about me. And I'm forever grateful. Every time I see that man, I'm
I love
like,
that.
Commissioner, thank you. He was like,
I
oh,
love that.
no problem. You was one of my favorites. Oh, I'm glad.
I love
Yes.
that. You mentioned when your friends would ask you to go out and
Mhm.
you were determined, you were focused on your priorities and your goals.
Yeah.
Did you lose any friendships during that transition that just couldn't grasp, what you were doing and thought that you were crazy?
No, my friends embraced it.
Mm,
They actually
mm,
kept me, they helped me be accountable as well. So they would ask, like, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I don't have any plans because I have money and savings, but I don't have any plans because I'm not planning to spend any money. And so that's when I was introduced to the free things of Rochester. I would need, like, oh,
mm,
just bring like $20. Okay, I'll take $20 and we'll go to one of the festivals. I'll get something to eat, something to drink, might buy a little trinket or something. And that was it. So my friends were very supportive.
mm,
I would say if you are looking to leave your job, make sure your core friends understand. Let them know, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And I would need
mm.
for you as my friend to be supportive of this. So if I say I can't do
Right,
nothing, it's not that I don't want to. I literally can't because I'm focused, I'm determined, I'm
right.
disciplined on this. When I paid off all the debt and in my car and stuff, I was like, y'all, look, oh my God, like I was paying 458 for a car note. And when I paid it off 6 months in advance, I'm like, y'all, I'm rich. I'm rich, rich. Like I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich. It was a celebration. We celebrated. It was exciting because I was able to really see the fruit of my labor at work.
You mentioned that, your business money was separated from your household money.
Yes.
How do you stay focused on that? And if you don't have enough in the household budget or the household money, that you don't tap into the business money, how do you ensure that you keep those separated?
Well, one, there are two separate accounts. I have a
Mhm.
different bank for my business, so there's no transferring happening. I
Mm,
knew that if I had my business account with my personal account, that I was gonna do it. It wouldn't have been a if or
yeah.
when. I was just gonna do it. And then also, I found that if I take money out of my business, I wasn't going to have a way to replenish it. I would have to work twice as hard to get clients because I have to now pay the internet, not internet, but the
Right.
web hosting. I have to pay for all of the subscriptions that I use to run my business. And if I use that money, then I'm like, oh God, it's going to get canceled and I need it.
Right.
So I can't spend the money on it. It also created in me a discipline to
Mm,
not touch the money. I actually like seeing my account grow. When you see it at a certain level, I'm like, okay, I want to get $500 in there. And I see that $500 mark. I'm like, okay, I want to see 1,000. I get to that 1,000. I'm not struggling, but I'm pushing to, be focused on my business income to see these different marks. And that's why I can see the money growing, because I want to see it. I want to
Yeah.
see it. And so when I have to
Yeah.
pay stuff out and the numbers drop, I'm like, dang. Now I want to get the money back up. But I can't touch it because one, in business, they tell us don't commingle accounts, because God forbid you ever get audited, they're going to see where this money is going. Why is there big transfers out of business into your personal? But you can, our part about it, you can use your money to fund your business. You just can't take money
Right.
out of your business.
Right.
But you can, if needed, you can, there are softwares and that you can purchase that will show you how to pay yourself as the
Got it.
owner of your company. You do have to
Right.
pay yourself. So that was something I had to learn when I became a full-time entrepreneur, because before, when I was working, my job took care of everything, and
Right.
I have to touch that money, but now I have to pay myself. And so it's a balance. It's a balance. That's why I
Yeah.
have structures in place to help me out, because if I don't, I'm just going to be, and somebody's, hi, here's my resume. I don't want to know. No, I don't want to do
No.
that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we know that you are an entrepreneur and that you have Ebony Nicole consulting business. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit more about your business, and you are also an author.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your books and what projects you're working on.
Yeah. So Ebony Nicole Smith Consulting is a boutique writing and publishing company. So when my clients come to me, they like, I want to do it. I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. What do I include? What don't I include? Or is this too personal? And I want to do a children's book, but what about illustrators? And how do I pay for the cover? And how? Stop. Don't worry about it. I got you. All you need to do is write. That's all I need you to do. Everything else, I'll take care of. Get that weight off your shoulders. Give it to me. I have the shoulders to carry that. So I go from the thought to a physical book in hand and beyond. Once the book is published, now what? What do you want to do? And I have these strategic planning conversations with my clients. What is it that you want to do after the book is published? Well, I really don't know. Okay, well, before this book is published, we're going to need to know. Because the
Right.
book, there's a 3-month novelty interest in the book. After the 3 months, some books last longer because the authors have plans ahead of that. But for the most part, the average book excitement dies down after 3 months. You have to have a plan in place in order to see the return on your investment. You have to have a plan in place to make your book relevant past those 3 months. If it's taking one chapter out of your book and let that be what you build your speaking on, your speaking platform on, let it be. If you are, depending on the nature of your book, go into schools, go into churches, go to corporate. Your book has relevance. You have to make sure that you make your book relevant after that 3 months. Or when it dies down, you're going to be looking kind of crazy because now you spent this investment and the return, you didn't get the full return yet. You got to plan forward for that. So that's part of what we do over here. And by we, I have a small team. It's me, myself, and I. And and me, myself, and I, we plan and we get these things done for our clients. Me, myself, and I do have board meetings, and sometimes it can be a little aggressive in those board meetings. So that's my business. I also, coach people. I publish. I hold workshops and seminars and things to teach people how to do this work. Masterclass, which is the devotional creation edition, because a lot of people, I want to do a devotional, but how do I structure it? How do I do this? How do I do that? Get in the class, I'll teach you. And it's a small investment of $35. And it also includes a downloadable e-workbook. And so that's what I have coming up to teach people how to get their devotionals done. And I'm currently working on 4 client books. I have a 17-year-old who's graduating this month. His book releases on the 15th. He's a mentee of mine. I met him back in December. at this mentor meetup here in Rochester. And 3 of the students that I talked to, because the students were instructed to go talk to business owners, and they had a chart. They had to meet people who were in a particular field, anything. And so 3 of the students rather I spoke to, they all said they want to write books. They want to do it. They want to. I'm like, well, here's my business card. Reach out to me. Only one reached out to me. So I was like, all right, well, let's get your book done. And I did. I waived my fees for his book to get done. And so now we're launching it in 14 days. He was like, the remaining balance, he was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay that. I was like, don't worry about it. We're going to do a sponsorship package. You need, I think it was like 25 people to pay $45. A week later, after he sent out his sponsorship package, he called me. He's like, Miss Ebony, I got the money. A week? I was so proud.
Nice.
So proud. And we're good. We are done. I actually ordered his books yesterday. And so, yeah. Okay, I'll say this. I do have a book. I just need to buckle down because I sound like my client right now. I think I need to hire me a coach. But I have a book called Relationship Goals, the 6 Standards of Building a Relationship with God. And I am on relationship standard number 3. But I'm finding it hard. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't really want to share this because I got to share pieces of me to make this standard solid, and how the benefits of it. I'm like, oh, now I got to be vulnerable. I don't be vulnerable with the world, Lord. So it's a process. I think I need to get me a coach because I'm not doing too well on this book. On my other books, I have 15 under my belt right now. I have novels, devotionals, journals, workbooks, and anthologies under my belt.
Nice. So you are on the Fearless Writers podcast. How are you living a fearless life?
I'm living a fearless life by knowing that there is something greater beyond me, and that there is greater waiting for me to arrive. And I know if I'm fearful of what I know is waiting for me, I won't move. It'll keep me stagnant. Also understanding that fear is false evidence appearing real. That's not real. I'm afraid because I don't know what's on the other side of it, but I'm excited because I want to see what's on the other side of it. So I'm going to go with my excitement and go see it. And living a fearless life just keeps me focused. It helps me to move forward because I want to see what's on the other side of this, whatever that this is. I want to see it.
I love that. And where can our audience, our listeners connect with you, learn more about you, and hire you so they can finish that book?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to find me would be via my website, which is my name, Ebony Nicole Smith.com. You can find my social media on there, as well as my email and a calendar to book a consultation with me. So that's how you can find me. The best way would be through my website.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm really honored, and I appreciate the questions were fantastic. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to leave a 5-star review and share with a friend or two. If you're not already following us on social media, come join the Fearless community at MRD Empowerment Solutions on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website, marianneRiveraDannert.com. I'll catch you next week with a new episode, and remember that you are a priority and you matter.